Welcome to Shape Your Life, the show that keeps you in touch with matters of your health. I'm Ronald Avergy, and in this episode, we look at what to eat this festive season and how to work off that extra food. Let's take a closer look at what we have in store for you. In our show today, how to relate to family this festive season, and we dance our way into shape. As you can see, quite a fun and relaxed show ahead. But before we unpack all that, let's take a look at what's happening in health news.
In your health news, it's been proven time and time again that upbeat paced music can boost your workout. But new research has shown what you listen to after your workout is just as important. A study from the Brunel University in the UK set out to look at two types of music following an exhaustive exercise. Monitoring their stress hormone cortisol using saliva samples and heart rate, they found that participants who listened to slow, sedative music benefited with their cortisol level reduced and had an improved emotional state. Unlike what was previously believed and women's opinions, men do actually suffer from man flu. This is according to a Canadian researcher, Dr. Kyle Su. Dr. Su looked into previous studies to investigate the claim of man flu, meaning a cold or similar minor condition experienced by a man who is thought to be exaggerating the severity of the symptoms. He found evidence that men do suffer from viral respiratory illness than women. The studies also showed that adult men have a higher risk of hospital admission and have higher rates of influenza-associated deaths compared with women in the same age groups, regardless of any other underlying disease, proving that man flu does exist.
With the festive season in full swing, have you ever wondered on how you can relate better with family members you don't quite see eye to eye with? We spoke to Paula Quincy on how to deal with these family members in this festive season. Paula, thank you so much for your time and joining us on Shape Your Life.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be with you again.
Now, if you bump into me on the street and I ask you what you do, you'll say I'm a relationship expert. But I will look at you befuddled, wondering, what is that and what do you actually do?
Indeed, and I get asked this all the time. So as an expert, my area of expertise is working with relationships and relationship dynamics. I work with individuals in their personal capacity around personal relationships, starting with self, because you need to have a good relationship with self. And then couples and families and that dynamic. And then in the organizational space, I work with relationship dynamics in the workplace. So people and team dynamics, conflict management, communication, emotional intelligence, and anything from a relationship dynamic in the organizational space.
When it comes to the festive season, it's known as a season to be jolly. And many people are jolly, they're happy, they're excited, but a lot are not. Some will be away from family, others will sit with financial stress and pressure and really be nostalgic in what they could have had, but because of financial situations, they can't. What would your advice be to those people to find a balance between being overly jolly and don't be too negative and hard on yourself, and just find a place whereby you are at even keel and enjoying this holiday?
Yeah, and I think you're right. The holiday season is a lot of times when families and friends do spend together, and spending time together and being in each other's faces for that period of time can cause conflict and frustrations. So there's a number of elements that people can look at. First of all, let's talk about finances, because that's a big thing that comes up in couples and families. If you are going away on holiday with friends or family, sit down beforehand, discuss a budget that everybody is comfortable with and what they can afford. Maybe even start a kitty where everybody makes an equal contribution to the kitty, and that kitty is used to pay for the holiday, the dinners, the lunches, the food, the venue, whatever it is you're going to be doing over the holiday. And that way you avoid the situations such as, well, we paid for this and you paid for that, and how do you reconcile who's paid for what? So that just keeps it simple. The next thing is spending a lot of time together over the festive season, and being in each other's faces. You can get irritated and frustrated with each other. So I would say plan some days where you have activities, that you go and do activities together, and have what I would call pause days or chill days, where you can have your own free time to go and do what you want. And whether that's quietly reading a book in a corner or on the beach, or just going for a walk or gym. Just having some time out where you're not in each other's faces all the time.
I think that's such a difficult thing to do because we haven't seen family for so long. So we deal with a lot of guilt in that we have to visit everybody, we have to go see everybody, and then we have to take everybody presents. And you're dealing with children as well who anticipate that Santa's coming down the chimney. Kids, Santa does come down the chimney. How do you reconcile that? Because will the kids be disappointed? Will they not be disappointed? Do you continue the illusion that yes, this will happen?
And that's where it's about managing expectations. So again, from a financial point of view, managing the expectations around what you can and can't afford and what's reasonable from a family perspective. Maybe you're just going to give the kids gifts this year. Or maybe you're going to play Secret Santa and everybody buys a gift to a certain value and you put it under the tree and then you draw a name out the hat and everybody gets a little something. At the end of the day, it's about what is the spirit of Christmas and the holidays all about, and it's about giving. And sometimes just your own presence of being there is a gift in itself for some people.
With the New Year period coming up as well, within the holiday phase, many people push it to the extremes of letting go. So it is a lot of drink, a lot of parties, braais, and they literally put themselves into a physical state whereby there's so much toxic element within them, they don't know what to do. Would that be a good thing from a relationship with self, to push you to that extreme and then in January reel yourself back in? And if so, how do we reel ourselves back in?
Christmas holidays is a time for indulgence, as we know. The best policy, everything in moderation. And I think nobody knows you better than you do. You know yourself. You know what over the top is for you. You know when you've had too much. So how do you, throughout all the chaos of Christmas and holidays, still maintain that connection with self in that I've reached my limit and I need some time out? And maybe it's being selective about which events you go to, which people you associate with and party with, to try and find a balance at the end of the day. Because the last thing you want to do is come back from holidays and feel frazzled and like you need a holiday to recover from the holidays.
When it comes to connecting with your spouse, it's been a long year. Work is hectic and we often miss each other, throughout the weeks, the days and the nights. Christmas and the holiday season is a time to potentially reconnect. But how do you now bridge that gap after long periods potentially where there wasn't a lot of communication, but now you would like to rebuild that with your spouse and just connect once again as a couple?
And this is a key thing that a lot of couples struggle with, because throughout the year we get caught up in the busyness of day-to-day life, running around after the kids, surviving, work, chores, all of those things. So a lot of couples are what we call disconnected. And when it comes to holidays, it's about how do you find time to connect just the two of you together. Whether it's a date night or, arranging for some other family, friend members to look after the kids, to give you a bit of time out. And when you have that time out, don't talk about household chores. Talk about what's worked for us this year, what hasn't worked. How can we become better partners for each other? How can we create a better family dynamic? What are some of the couples goals that we want to put in place to achieve together in 2018? Because a lot of the times we measure ourselves in the workplace on our performance. We have performance appraisals and performance reviews in the workplace, but we very seldom do it in our personal relationships. And this is an ideal time to do that, when you are more relaxed and you can talk about those things and set goals for 2018. And it doesn't have to be New Year's resolutions, because a lot of people wait for New Year to set resolutions. It can be one or two key things that you want to improve together to make your relationship better and your family dynamics.
Paula, thank you so much for your time and have a wonderful end of 2017.
Thank you, and happy holidays to you and all the viewers as well.
The holiday season is also about indulging in food, in a responsible way, of course. We caught up with Zaida Mohammed from Delhi for some cooking tips this festive season. The one thing everybody looks forward to over Christmas is our Christmas lunch. And often we don't know how to prepare a healthier option, but we want it to be tasty as well. I've come to chat to Zaida from Delhi, and she's an extraordinarily talented caterer that has managed to put amazing ingredients out for us. And I want to find out what has she got up her sleeve for us this year. Zaida, welcome to Shape Your Life.
Thank you, Ron. Today we're going to do an easy peasy ice cream. Shop bought, and then you jazz it up the way you want it. We're going to do some Phillips steak. We're going to do a broccoli salad, and then a hot bake fruit to go with the ice cream.
Wow, that sounds absolutely delicious. I'm so glad I came famished. But what ingredients are special or unique to this? So can we find this anywhere and anyone can do this at home?
You can find this anywhere. If you're a health freak or you eat well, you're going to have these things in your pantry, and it's going to be quick and easy, no fuss. It's going to be Christmas on the go and spend lots of time with your family.
Well, that sounds good to me. I'm going to take my virgin sangria and go off to the side, and I'll let you teach people how to prepare this, and I'll come back and do what I do best, and that's eat.
Okay. Spending time with family doesn't mean that I need to be in the kitchen all the time. So what I usually do, I do a cheats ice cream, and it always matches the meal that I'm making or the dessert. So I buy my best vanilla ice cream, and then I just flavor it with whatever I want. Today I've decided to do a chai tea ice cream. So I'm doing 1 tablespoon of chai flavor onto this ice cream, mix it through, and it goes straight to the freezer. I mean, who's got the time in the day to even have a churning machine and doing all sorts of things when you can be playing with a family? And that's it. Goes in the freezer. What I'm also preparing for you today is a Phillips steak with garlic, rosemary, and olive oil. Firstly, you're going to take your Phillips steak. I've got grapeseed oil here today. You just coat it with the oil, some salt, a little bit of pepper, and then what we want to do is flavor it, not too much to take away the natural flavors of the meat. So I'm going to do some garlic. I think 2 cloves should be enough for this size fillet steak. So all this is going to do is bring out the natural flavors of the beef. I'm going to put it onto a roasting rack. If you don't have a roasting rack with a rack on the top, all you can do is put it in a normal dish, cover it with foil, and let it go into the oven 180 degrees for about 45 minutes to an hour, or until it reaches about 72 degrees, and that's medium well. I'm going to show you guys how to make a quick sauce to go with your beef fillet. All we need is a little bit of olive oil. I'm going to fry off our onions. You can add some garlic if you want to, but I don't, because there's quite a bit of garlic on the fillet steak itself. The rest of the ingredients that's going to go into this is going to be some bay leaf. We're going to have some red wine. I'm using non-alcoholic at this stage. We've got some Dijon mustard and some butter, salt and pepper to taste. To this I'm going to add 1 bay leaf, 1 cup of stock. You can use beef stock, vegetable stock, whatever you fancy. And then to that 1 cup of red wine. We're going to reduce this until it's half the measure, and then we're going to add to this the Dijon mustard and the butter. Next I'm going to do a cranberry, almond and broccoli salad. I've sauteed this in some boiling water, salted water, and I'm going to quickly shock it in some ice water just to stop the cooking process, and also for it just to keep its color. It's amazing green color for the salad. Once we've cooled it down, we can strain it and put it onto our platter. We're going to make a lovely dressing for this in a couple of minutes, and that's also going to take us less than 5 minutes. We're going to add to this some red onion. You can also soak your red onion in some water for 5 minutes if you don't like the onion taste too much. We've got some pumpkin seeds, almonds, strong cheddar cheese, a And we've got some dried cranberries. I like the cranberries, it's festive season, and what better to use than cranberries, cinnamon, nutmeg, all the spices. Also, going back to the ice cream, if you wanted some eggnog ice cream, for example, you'd add some rum essence and some nutmeg just for the festive season. Okay, to this, I'm going to show you now how to do the dressing that goes over this. Here we've got 2/3 cups of your choice of mayonnaise, whether you have canola mayonnaise, low fat, full fat. It's Christmas, you do what you like to do. Into this I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, zest of a half an orange, and don't go too deep, otherwise you get that bittery taste at the bottom, the white, and that's not what you want to be having on Christmas Day. And about the zest of 1 whole lemon. Now we'll do some salt and pepper to taste, and a good mix. I also just like to top this off with some poppy seeds, and that is 1 healthy and delicious broccoli salad. Nothing says Christmas quite like apple, cranberry, cinnamon, nutmeg. So what I'm going to do is a quick hot fruit bake that's going to go with our ice cream. So what I've got here is 2 cups of apples. I've kind of just put it into wedges, no fuss, no worry. So 1 cup of chopped pineapples. I've got a cup of cranberries. To this I'm adding a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. I'm adding a tablespoon of maple syrup, or you can use any kind of syrup or sugar that you want. To that I'm adding 3 tablespoons of coconut palm sugar. And of course, nothing is quite Christmas better than walnuts. Walnuts and just a touch of melted butter. This is going to go into the oven at 180 degrees until all of this is nice and tender. So our sauce is reduced now to half its measurement, and to this I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of butter. I've switched off the heat, by the way, and 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard. I'm going to give it a quick whisk. And to this some salt and pepper.
Zaida, I still have my sangria with me, but this looks even better than what this tastes.
I hope you're going to enjoy it, Ron. So let me dish up for you. We've got some Phillips steak.
But I see that's done perfectly, nice and soft pink in the middle.
This is the way I like it. It's medium well, and it should be at 72 degrees when you take it out of the oven.
72 degrees, people.
And some broccoli, walnuts, cranberries.
Wow.
And that's your salad.
This looks absolutely delicious.
And it was effortless.
All right, let me grab a knife and a fork and let's give this a taste. Let me squeeze in. Let's get the other plates out the way. Wow, I mean, this plate is appealing to the eye. I love the portion sizes. you know, even though it's known as the overindulgence period, this is still, you know, watching your portions. Wow. You know, I feel like digging with my hands, but it is Christmas. So let us be.
I've never seen you. I've never seen you go with the fingers.
Right. So what I'm creating here is the perfect bite. Let's dig in.
Stamp of approval.
Absolutely delicious.
Great.
The softness of the meat, that sauce, wow. But the crunchiness of the veggies, the cheesy taste you get, and the sweetness of the cranberries.
Yep.
It's like I'm having a carousel in my mouth. It's like a fun fair.
Explosion,
Which
yes.
is absolutely delicious. Wow.
And that's what holidays are about. It's about color, texture, taste, mainly taste.
And definitely, you know what, you feel this is a homely meal, a meal made with love, and that's really what, you know, cooking is about, especially over this period.
Yes, especially over this period when busy moms are always have other things to do, and this is the time that we do for our family.
I love this. And I see we have more salad options for us as well.
Ron, you know, I'm the kind of person, I don't like to do too much on the day, so I've just thrown together all my ingredients, made it look pretty, and everybody can just help themselves to the kind of things that they like. I, for one, don't like olives, so I'm not going to choose olives on my plate, but all the other things is going to be on mine.
Okay. Well, I mean, you know what, you're actually catering for so many flavors and tastes,
Yes.
with different personalities,
Yeah.
and this just gives them the option to choose what they want and how much of it they want.
Absolutely.
Now, Zaida, over the last few years, you've got to know me, and I have a very sweet tooth.
Yes.
So when you mentioned ice cream earlier, I got more excited because whenever I go to a restaurant, I'm always looking at the dessert first
Yes.
and working my way back. So what do we have for dessert?
So for dessert, we have a hot apple bake and chai ice cream.
Bring it on. Bring it on. Zaida, now this feels like Christmas to me. As long as there's sweets on the table and desserts, every day is Christmas to me.
It looks like Christmas, it smells like Christmas, and let's hope it tastes like Christmas.
But with this over here, many people are afraid of something known as stewed fruit.
Okay.
Right? Is that different to this, or is it very similar?
This is a bake, so it's not so liquidy, it's not so sweet. I've just put a little bit of sugar on top of it and baked it in the oven. And also it's got that earthiness with the nuts and stuff. So here's the ice cream with some chai powder. And of course the hot and cold is just going to be magic.
All right, let's have a squeeze of this, right? This looks, wow. Wow, wow, wow. Again, I brought my cranberries. Let's get some fruit in this mix. Let's get some ice cream in this mix. This works. This really works.
Well, I'm glad.
I don't even eat apple pie, but apple like this, done like this.
Yeah.
You've got such a, I still have the crunch of the apple.
The crunch of the apple, that's it.
Zaida, once again, you have outshone yourself from last year.
Thank you.
The healthiness and the earthiness and the ease of preparation, you know, gives us the ability as men even to prepare a surprise
Absolutely.
meal for our
Anybody can do
family.
it. Anybody can do it.
Thank you so much for your time again, for
Pleasure.
sharing of your passion with us, and have a wonderful festive and a safe holiday.
And you, and all of you.
And to everybody else, do not be jealous of my Christmas dessert. We are going to take a break. We have more when we return. After the break, we find out more on how dance can be used to get fit. Don't move.